Childhood sweetheart and science top scorer, but his college application was changed to a vocational college by a delinquent girl. I was just about to remind him when a barrage of comments appeared before my eyes. This is what a true heroine's satisfying story looks like. The male lead also has the freedom to give up Peking University. Why should the little sister always accommodate the male lead just because he's the top scorer? Falling for it, heart-fluttering, adorable underachiever vs aloof. Top student, fans of rental apartment romance are in for a treat. What is the supporting character trying to do? Have some shame. The male lead knows his college application was tampered with, yet she insists on being part of the game. It only makes him more determined to lower his standards for the younger sister. My heart suddenly tightened. No one understood better than I did what Bruce Taylor had sacrificed to get into Peking University. Everyone praised his natural talent, saying he could skip classes to play basketball during the day and still come out on top in exams. Only I know he once stayed up all night just to understand a single math problem. There is no effortless top scholar, only diligent and earnest sweat. I don't know if the sudden barrage of comments is real or fake, but I know his 3 years of persistence is real. As a neighbor and classmate, I feel it's my duty to remind you, Bruce Taylor, your college application has been tampered with. As soon as these words were spoken, the barrage exploded. Damn, didn't the administrator set the barrage to be visible only to the supporting female character? Why is she still meddling in this? In the previous life, because of her reminder, our sister and the male lead were forced to miss each other for 5 years. 5 whole years. So annoying. Can the supporting female character have some shame? Bruce Taylor's expression looked somewhat unnatural. Impossible. We went to and from school together since childhood. Attending the same elementary, middle, and high school. He was lying, and how could I not see it? At this point, my heart grew half cold. I asked again, unwilling to give up, are you sure? Coincidentally, the bathroom door opened, and Ida pretended to have just finished using the toilet. She exclaimed cheerfully, wow, Bruce, you even let Megan Duncan review your college application choices. What kind of new mother-son game is this? I'm starting to ship you too. The barrage is scrolling wildly. My heart aches for my sister, seeing her not jealous even when the female lead and male lead are talking. This is what a true female lead should be. Aw, if that stupid female lead says one more word, I'll draw circles and curse her. Don't worry, the female lead doesn't know the male lead has also been reborn. This time, the male lead will definitely not give up on my sister because of some vague achievements. Sure enough, just as the bullet comment said, Bruce Taylor instantly grew anxious. He walked straight to the front door and opened it. Megan Duncan, even if you have a mama's boy mentality, consider whether I want to be your son. I'm 18 years old and capable of taking responsibility for my own life. You should go back first. Admittedly, I have not experienced the rebirth mentioned in the bullet comments. I cannot understand what Bruce Taylor is thinking. I only feel sorry for his future. As we passed by each other, his smile was gentle and resolute, and as usual, he patted my head. I'm sorry, just let me be brave this once. Bullet comments. What are you sorry for? Male lead. The only one you should apologize to is the female lead. Baby, have you forgotten the 5 years you missed in your previous life because of Megan Duncan's reminder? Scheming supporting female character, deliberately trying to evoke the male lead sympathy. Get lost, you wretch. There are 8 days left until the deadline for submitting college applications. I didn't disturb Bruce Taylor during these 8 days, hoping only that his mind could regain the clarity he had during the college entrance exam. The more I thought about it, the more annoyed I became, so I decided to go downstairs and buy an ice cream to calm down. As it turned out, I ran into Bruce's mother playing mahjong. The bullet comments are even more nervous than I am. The supporting female character wants to snitch. How despicable. If you can't change the male lead's mind, you'll pressure his mother. Instead, mother-in-law, don't fall for it. Your daughter-in-law is going to give you 8 chubby grandsons in the future. Stop pretending. Supporting female character. I know you can see the bullet comments. Did you hear that? No snitching. To be honest, the barrage is overthinking it. I've always been clear-headed, since Bruce Taylor kept it from his mother. Why would I take the initiative to be the bad guy? I opened the fridge and took out 2 small popsicles. I went to the front desk to check out. Aunt Taylor saw the ice cream in my hand and casually took one. You bought 2, probably thinking of sharing one with Bruce. What a good kid. But, you're both grown up now. You need to pay attention to boundaries. I was taken aback, my mind didn't process it right away. Bruce's father passed away early, and Aunt Taylor raised him through hardship all on her own. When she first moved into the neighborhood, my parents often invited the mother and son over for meals to welcome the new neighbors. She also treated me like a second daughter. Whenever the supermarket had discounted snacks on clearance, she would give them all to me. Every time I left for school, she would remind Bruce Taylor to take good care of his little sister. When a kind person suddenly shows malice, I really think I'm overthinking it. Aunt Taylor smiled awkwardly. Megan, you're a grown woman now. You can't just come to my house as casually as before. It's not good for your reputation, you know. A gentle reminder, an inexplicable sense of nausea. The barrage of comments erupted in laughter. Ha 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 ha. Did you hear that? Supporting character. They're talking about you. Why don't you take a look at your own exam scores? Are you even worthy of the top scholar? The male lead's destined partner is either the daughter of a listed company's CEO or a top academic achiever. What does Megan Duncan amount to? Just a clingy mama's boy. I neither humble nor arrogant. Took half a step back. Understood. Auntie. Only then did Aunt Taylor let out a sigh of relief. Before, having Bruce take care of you was like treating you as a second daughter. Don't overthink it. My Bruce doesn't eat the grass near his own nest. As for a daughter-in-law, I have my own standards in mind. Megan, you're wonderful, but when it comes to matching my Bruce, you still fall a bit short. Hearing this, I couldn't hold back and spoke up in rebuttal. Auntie, these 2 ice creams were both bought for myself. Aunt Taylor didn't know whether to keep smiling or not. She stood there awkwardly. As I walked away, I could faintly hear a few complaints amidst the clattering of mahjong tiles. One word from her and she has 10 comebacks. She'll never get married in the future. Not sure what there is to be so proud of. She scored much lower than my Bruce. Everyone says girls don't have the same staying power as boys, but she just won't believe it. Returning home, my heart felt colder than the ice cream in my mouth. Perhaps this is the price of growing up. All I can do is accept that the people around me have suddenly shown their true colors. The next day, the class monitor called to invite me to the graduation party. The whole class is coming. You must be there. We've prepared a surprise for you. At the agreed time, I opened the door to the private room, and my desk mate linked arms with me, teasing, "Where's your partner? Why didn't they come with you?" Top scorer's girlfriend. Tsinghua or Peking University. Choose Tsinghua for the competitive couple path. Choose Peking University for the loving couple path. The barrage was uniformly filled with shameless. I was just about to explain when the class monitor suddenly shouted, "Get ready." The lights instantly went out, plunging the scene into complete darkness. Immediately, colorful lights flashed, and everyone took out the prepared fireworks. As Bruce Taylor pushed the door open, bang! A sky full of confetti completely covered the barrage. Get together, get together, get together. At the same time, a red banner reading, "Wishing Megan Duncan and Bruce Taylor eternal love," was unfurled. Awkwardness hung between Bruce Taylor and me. At that moment, Ida, who was holding Bruce Taylor's arm, leaned in and asked, "Wow, Bruce, are you going to confess to Megan Duncan tonight?" "Since we're going to confess, how can this little bit of atmosphere be enough?" Luckily, many of my classmates came too. "How about that? I'm thoughtful." Right, bullet comments. My heart aches for the little sister, pretending to be strong. The teasing instantly vanished. The whole class stared in stunned silence at the hands of Bruce Taylor and Ida, which were tightly clasped together. At this moment, even the most foolish person could see that something was off. My desk mate was the first to speak up for me. "Bruce Taylor, what do you mean by that?" The class monitor also looked displeased. "Bro, didn't you say you had good news to announce? Is this your good news?" Bruce Taylor took a deep breath and stepped forward, bracing himself. "Everyone, what I want to tell you tonight is, Ida and I are together." The screen was flooded with red hearts in the barrage. Ah, this kind of boyfriend energy is so satisfying. The louder the teasing, the more spectacular the face slapping. Ha ha ha, more of this kind of plot, please. I love it. I want to watch it, and I'll keep watching. In the private room with over 50 people, it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Awkward, indignant, surprised, and pitying gazes nearly overwhelmed me. In the end, it was the political class representative who smoothed things over. asking everyone to sit down. They also called the waiter to add over a dozen more chairs. What was supposed to be a pleasant graduation gathering for classmates instantly turned into a social event between the senior students of City No. 1 high school and the vocational school students. The class monitor said it's impossible not to be angry. Bro, don't blame me for not warning you. In your first year of high school, you were cornered in an alley by these people demanding money. Bruce Taylor pretended to be mature, crossing his legs. Thanks to this opportunity, I'd like to propose a toast to everyone. Few of his classmates responded to him. Bruce Taylor didn't feel awkward either and downed his drink in one go. His desk mate smiled coldly, stood up, and poured himself 3 glasses. The first glass is for Megan, who bravely stepped in to help a classmate being robbed back in our first year of high school, only to be betrayed now. The second toast is also to Megan, who took out the trash for a certain classmate for an entire semester in her second year of high school, only to be met with the words, "I never asked you to help me." The third toast is still to Megan, who took notes for a certain classmate in her third year of high school, only for that person to be ungrateful, allowing the entire class to benefit from the top student's notes. As soon as the words were spoken, all the students from class 9 of the third year stood up. To Megan Duncan, I also stood up. Thank you, everyone. It's my honor to be in the same class with you. I wish you all smooth sailing and soaring success. Just as everyone had taken their seats, a snicker came from the corner. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh out loud. It's just that the world of top students is really different from ours. In our school, this kind of behavior is called being clingy and paying tribute. How silly, ha ha ha. Ida laughed so hard she collapsed onto Bruce Taylor. The bullet comments also scrolled with sarcasm. Self-respect and self-love have nothing to do with academic performance. These high school seniors are even worse than vocational school students. So infuriating. A bunch of top students bullying my girl. People like this are just scum in society. Can the male lead say something? What does it mean to let the younger sister take the lead? The next second, Bruce Taylor moved. Feelings can't be forced. If you're saying all this to emotionally blackmail me, I can only respond with 3 words, impossible. Before my desk mate could explode in anger, I spoke up first. You're overthinking it. If any classmate were being robbed, I would have stepped in to help. Helping with the trash is just to keep the classroom clean, and as for the notes, it's the same whether you look at them or other classmates do. The knowledge isn't wasted. Bruce Taylor was stunned for a moment. But you clearly did it all for me. I cut him off. Facts are facts. If we're talking about moral coercion, we can't ignore the time you were late for the flag-raising ceremony and the whole class had to stand in punishment with you. Bruce Taylor's face darkened, and he fell silent. I smiled and counted the number of people at the gathering. I didn't expect you to bring a whole group today, so we'll have to split the bill. The food is getting cold. Don't just sit there. Eat up. Eat up. After that, the only sound left in the private room was the clatter of eating. After everyone had eaten and drunk their fill, Bruce Taylor, as usual, reminded me, "Don't wander off, I'll take you back." I directly refused. "No, I'll take a taxi myself." I left early by taxi, but unexpectedly ran into Bruce Taylor right at the entrance of the neighborhood. We walked together in complete silence. The moonlight stretched our shadows long behind us. He hesitated, as if wanting to say something. I quickened my pace, not wanting to pay him any attention. Unexpectedly, I ran right into Aunt Taylor downstairs in the residential complex. Upon seeing me, a look of resentment appeared on her face for the first time, as if I had stolen her son. "Halt, Megan Duncan, have I ever told you to keep your boundaries with my Bruce? How could you take him out to fool around again? Look at him reeking of alcohol. Those who know might think you're high school seniors, but those who don't would think you're some delinquent girl who just ran out." The elderly men and women cooling off downstairs immediately gathered around. Having lived here for many years, everyone is well aware of my nature. They all advised, "Lucy, is there some misunderstanding? Don't make things difficult for the child." Lucy instantly changed her expression, plopped down on the ground, and began slapping her thigh vigorously. "Everyone, judge for yourselves. All these years, I've raised Bruce through thick and thin, and now he's finally become the top scholar. He's going to contribute to the country and society in the future." Megan Duncan, on the other hand, not only spends all day freeloading but also drags my son out to fool around. What if my son gets addicted to gambling? I was so angry that my face turned ashen, my heart kept pounding, and for the first time, I experienced the full extent of human malice. I'm not dating him, it's a graduation party for our classmates today. If you don't believe me, ask Bruce Taylor. Bruce Taylor also felt embarrassed and helplessly called out, "Mom, stop making a scene, so many neighbors are watching." As soon as these words were spoken, Lucy became even more agitated. She pulled a red lingerie from her bag, holding it up with 2 fingers and waving it in front of everyone. Not dating? Then what is this? Come on, everyone, take a look. This is the fine daughter the Duncan family raised, pretending to be a good girl in public, but a promiscuous slut behind closed doors. The neighbors were also incredulous at the sight. Unbelievable, kids these days really know how to play. Just turned 18, better not end up with a life on the line. Who knows how old Duncan raised his daughter? If it were me, I'd give her a couple of slaps to see if she'd still dare to do such shameless things. I instantly realized this was a battlefield item that Bruce Taylor and Ida had played with. I looked at Bruce Taylor in disbelief, but he kept his lips tightly shut, gazing at me with a pleading look. I understood that look. In his second year of high school, Bruce Taylor used his leftover pocket money to buy a second-hand phone, but Aunt Taylor was strict and wouldn't let him use it, so he always kept the phone hidden with me. One night, Aunt Taylor suddenly burst into my house and smashed the phone to pieces right in front of me. "Megan Duncan, I'm warning you, if you dare lend your phone to Bruce again and get him addicted to the internet, I'll be the first one to come after you." My parents didn't believe it and asked if the phone was mine. Bruce Taylor hid behind his mother, looking at me with a pitiful, pleading gaze. In that instant, a sense of saintly compassion and foolish loyalty welled up inside me. I feel so sorry for Bruce Taylor, being controlled by his mom to the point where he can't even use his phone. As his good friend, how could I not help him out? The moment I admitted the phone was mine, I even felt like I was being quite responsible, but the next day, I paid the price for that responsibility. On the school bus, I was happily chatting with my classmates. Lucy suddenly appeared out of nowhere, pleading with my friends in a desperate tone, "Megan, please, I beg you, don't harm my Bruce. He is my only hope. Auntie will kneel for you, okay? Please don't lead him astray, don't give him your phone to play with." At that moment, I suddenly realized that taking responsibility for others comes with a price, and my price was to lose face in front of a whole bus of classmates. Fortunately, they were only from the same school, not the same class. And what about Bruce Taylor? Afterwards, he didn't even apologize on behalf of his mother. Now, that pleading gaze has fallen upon me once again, but I will never make the same mistake a second time. Summoning my courage, I faced the neighbors and declared loudly, "These panties aren't mine." Bruce Taylor's gaze shifted from pleading to anger. He shielded Ida, determined to make me lose face. "Mom, stop making a scene. So what if I'm dating Megan Duncan?" The barrage is filled with heartache. Poor male lead, to protect his sister, he actually admitted to being with the female supporting character. Take his mom back home. Why let the female supporting character have the upper hand? Even though I know it's fake, my heart still aches. The female supporting character must be laughing like crazy inside. I am truly mad, so infuriating, Lucy wailed, pounding her son's chest. "How foolish. You are the top scholar, destined for Peking University. What daughter of an official or heiress of a CEO wouldn't be within your reach? Why must you settle for a country bumpkin, a village girl? My whole future depends on you. How could you ruin my hopes?" She cried and screamed, rushing up to me. "It's all your fault. It's all because you seduced my son." Just as she was about to strangle me, I stepped back. At the same time, a pair of familiar figures blocked my way. "Lucy, how dare you lay a hand on my daughter?" my mother said with deep sorrow. "How dare you slander my daughter? I should never have been so kind to you and your son in the first place." Lucy, now emboldened by her status as the mother of a top scholar, stood tall and proud. "Being good to us, wasn't it just because your shameless little wretch had her eyes on my son?" How old was she then? Just 7 years old. Truly, it's in her nature. Before she could finish her sentence, my father slapped her across the face. Try saying one more word. Lucy was brought back to her senses by this slap. "You only dare to bully us, a widow and her orphan. Just wait, my son is the top scholar, and when he makes something of himself, you'll be the first one he deals with." Bruce Taylor also quickly stepped forward to support his mother, Uncle Duncan. How can a man bully a woman? With this slap, any gratitude I owed you in the past is now settled. At this moment, I really couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. How shrewd, his own mother was being beaten, and he was still calculating the accounts. How come I never noticed how cold and ungrateful he was before? I took out my phone and opened the video, turned the volume up to the maximum. I also made a round in front of the neighbors. Everyone, take a good look. At tonight's graduation party, Bruce Taylor personally admitted who his girlfriend is. Don't get it wrong. As the fireworks exploded, the entire neighborhood saw Bruce Taylor holding Ida and acknowledging their relationship. Lucy also snatched the phone, staring at the little punk with yellow hair in the video, her eyes nearly bulging out. Isn't this the daughter of Smith the drunkard? The video was recorded by a classmate, originally meant to commemorate the happy moments I shared with Bruce Taylor. I never expected it to become the ironclad evidence that proves my innocence. Bruce Taylor was astonished, with a hint of disappointment. Haven't you always wanted to be with me? I'm giving you the chance. Why aren't you cherishing it? I threatened in a voice only the two of us could hear. You should first think about how to explain your college application choices to your mom. Bruce Taylor panicked instantly. He knew that if his mom found out about this, she would definitely grab a kitchen knife and storm the Smith family's gate. Shut up. I immediately shut my mouth. If it were before tonight, I would have still felt sorry for Bruce Taylor, thinking his excellent grades had gone to waste. After tonight, I just want to wish this scumbag and his shameless woman a happy marriage for 100 years. The barrage was filled with anger. The supporting female character really doesn't know her place. The male lead already acknowledged her as his girlfriend, yet she still pushes the sister out to take the blame. Who cares? At least the sister and the male lead's relationship is finally out in the open, and they won't have to hide anymore. Where's the male lead? Speak up. Bravely admit that sister is your girlfriend. The barrage was disappointed, faced with Lucy's pressing questions. Bruce Taylor remained silent. He was used to driving his own mother crazy with his silence. Speak up. Is what Megan Duncan said true? Are you really dating the drunkard's daughter? Her father is a habitual domestic abuser. He even drove Ida's own mother away. I get it now. It must be Ida who seduced you. I'm going to settle this with her right away. With that, Lucy was about to rush out, but Bruce Taylor grabbed her and pushed her to the ground. Have you had enough? Do I have to cut ties with you to make you stop? With one sentence, he severed all of Lucy's escape routes. Her lips trembled, unable to believe such harsh and heartless words had come from her own son. The neighbors whispered among themselves, so the top scholar likes a little delinquent. That's quite a peculiar taste. My daughter was even blackmailed by Ida. What a nuisance. He studied so much that he's lost his mind. I don't think it matters even if he gets into Harvard. Who says it isn't? I seized the opportunity. Today, I ask Uncle and Aunt to bear witness. From now on, the affairs of the Taylor family have nothing to do with my Duncan family. Even if I, Megan Duncan, remain single for the rest of my life and never marry, I will absolutely never be with Bruce Taylor. Mom even pulled out the account book, demanding that Lucy repay all the money she had borrowed over the years. The neighbors all expressed their support. Who doesn't have a daughter? Who would want their daughter to be wronged by outsiders for no reason? Lucy's shameless behavior made all the neighbors keep their distance. They were afraid that one day she might go crazy at their homes for no reason. So on the day of Bruce Taylor's college celebration banquet, Bruce's mother invited all the neighbors in the building, but only 3 or 4 families showed up. My college celebration banquet was also on the same day as Bruce Taylor's, same hotel, adjacent private rooms. The venue was booked before the relationship turned sour. Back when the two families were on good terms, they thought booking the same hotel would save the neighbors from having to travel between 2 places. My side was packed with guests, while Bruce Taylor's side only had 3 out of 8 tables filled. One of those tables was even taken by neighbors from my side who couldn't find a seat and had to squeeze in over there. Lucy saw this and said sarcastically, "What does it matter if many people come? They still didn't do as well as my son in the exam." My mother forced a smile. "Yes, your son not only did well in the exam, but also has good taste, achieving success in both studies and love." Lucy was so furious she nearly stomped the carpet to shreds, then stormed back to her own private room. While I was happily enjoying my meal, a commotion broke out in the Taylor family's private room. "Why can't we return the dishes? We haven't even touched them. Can't you see 5 seats are empty? You have to refund us this money. Don't serve the food. How can your hotel force us to buy and sell like this? I kept my head down and ate, pretending not to hear, but soon, the sound of firecrackers exploded from across the street. I couldn't help but step outside to see what was happening. It turned out to be Ida, bringing her troublemaking friends to Bruce Taylor's college celebration banquet. Lucy was so angry she could die, blocking the way and refusing to let them in. Classmate. My son's classmates are either aiming for top universities. Where did this low-tier college classmate come from? Ida hugged Bruce Taylor, looking aggrieved. Auntie, love knows no class. Bruce's mother sneered. If you don't care about social class, why didn't you find someone with a junior college degree? You must be over the moon to have landed a top scholar like my son, right? The barrage of comments expressed sympathy for the female lead. How can the mother-in-law be like this? In the previous life, she even treated Sweetie as her own daughter, of course. That's because in the previous life, Bruce Taylor succeeded in his business and became a billionaire, while Megan Duncan was just a barren hen, but Sweetie gave birth to twins in one go. TD, unsubscribe. I read rebirth novels to keep my mammary glands clear, not to keep watching the female lead suffer. Why are there still so many twists and turns even after the male lead changed his college application to be with her? I smiled and gave a middle finger to the barrage of comments. May those who curse have blocked mammary glands for life. Bruce Taylor held Ida's hand, his expression resolute. Mom, Ida and I are truly in love. What nonsense about true love, without money or ability, what's there to talk about love? Lucy slapped Ida across the face. Your mother ran off with someone long ago. Your father does nothing but drink and gamble, and you've been collecting protection money outside the school since you were a child. Tell me, what right do you have to step into my family's home? You're not even as good as Megan Duncan next door, a proper college graduate with 2 apartments and a commercial storefront. Ida covered her face and hid in Bruce Taylor's arms. A flicker of resentment flashed in her eyes. Auntie, I may not enter your house, but Bruce can enter mine. You have no right to look down on me for attending a third-rate university. Bruce said he would accompany me to a vocational college. He's already changed his application. The statement left everyone stunned. Neighbors who had come for the meal put down their chopsticks and gathered at the door to listen to the gossip. What? The top scorer is applying to a vocational college, when heaven offers a feast. Is he deliberately smashing his own bowl? Did Bruce Taylor cheat on the college entrance exam with that brain of his? Oh my God, I'll never complain about my son's poor grades again. At least he has some sense. The neighbors all expressed their pity. Bruce's mother was so overwhelmed that she couldn't catch her breath, clutching her chest as she collapsed to the ground. Son, is what she said true? Bruce Taylor nodded. Mom, I'm already 18 years old. My future is in my own hands. Slap. Bruce's mother slapped her son across the face. Then, she frantically grabbed the food from the plates and threw it at Bruce Taylor and Ida. The guests were all too frightened to make a sound. It was my parents who set up 3 more tables and invited the guests to eat in our private room. After venting her anger, Bruce's mother collapsed to the floor, wailing loudly. Wah wah, my husband, why didn't you take me with you when you died, leaving me all alone in this world to suffer? Look at your son, giving up a bright future for some lowly woman. I should have strangled him at birth. Countless neighbors who witnessed this couldn't help but sigh with pity. Even my parents sighed. What a sin. After the college celebration banquet, Mrs. Taylor completely changed from her usual arrogant and domineering self. She also returned to her former gentleness toward me, occasionally sending some vegetables and fruits to my family. Every day, she wore a look of utter despair, as if her heart had died. One day, while I was watching TV, she knocked on my door holding a box of cake. Seeing me open the door, she eagerly pushed the cake into my hands. Megan, happy birthday. I won't come in. I'm sorry for what happened before. I was too eager to protect my son and ended up embarrassing you. With that, she raised her hand and slapped herself. How could I do such a thing to a goddaughter I've watched grow up? Slap, another slap. Had no idea what she was up to. Her parents, seeing her pitiful state, invited her in for a cup of tea. After entering, Bruce's mother even knelt on the ground to apologize to my parents. This, in turn, made my parents feel embarrassed, and they decided to let bygones be bygones. During casual conversation, She couldn't help but complain that Bruce Taylor had applied to a private college in a third-tier city in the South, after pulling and tugging for over an hour. She began to probe. "Megan, which school did you apply to?" I immediately became alert and casually mentioned RM University. RM University is great, but as a girl, going to college alone in another city, I'm really worried about you. If only Bruce had also applied to RM University. I shifted my butt toward the edge of the sofa. "The college application deadline is at 12 o'clock tonight. It's not too late for you to persuade him." Aunt Taylor slapped her thigh vigorously. I tried to persuade him. It was useless. He wouldn't listen to me and even said he would never come back again. "Megan, you still like Bruce, don't you?" I was taken aback, not understanding the connection between these two statements, but Lucy shifted her seat closer to me. "Auntie supports you. You must snatch Bruce back from that bitch Ida. Don't apply to RM University either. Just change your application to Bruce's junior college. Study together, and with you taking care of Bruce, Auntie will feel much more at ease." Clang, the teacup in Mom's hand shattered on the floor. Without a word, she picked up the broom and struck Lucy directly. "Bah, I thought you were genuinely repentant, but you actually dragged my daughter into this mess. Old Duncan, what are you still standing there for? Get this shameless thing out of here. Don't ever let her step foot in my house again." My dad rolled up his sleeves and got straight to it, throwing her right out the door. Bang, bang, bang. Lucy, as if possessed, frantically pounded on my front door. "Megan, just go to a junior college with my son. I promise you'll definitely be my future daughter-in-law. Did you hear me? Open the door. You are not allowed to go to RM University. Do you hear me? You are not allowed to go." The sharp chirping kept me tossing and turning all night. Unable to sleep, I decided to go to the balcony for some fresh air. As a result, I heard the intermittent chirping of crickets from next door. "My foolish son, I'm begging you, even if you're dead set on applying to a junior college, you can't be with that Ida. You persuade Megan Duncan to apply to a junior college too. She likes you and will definitely listen to you. What counts as cheating? This is called having a backup. Megan Duncan comes from a good family and is suitable to be a daughter-in-law. Even if you two can't be together in the future, she can still take care of you for free. Later, I'll tell the neighbors that Megan Duncan was dead set on being a simp and insisted on applying to the same university as you. Let's see who would dare marry her then. You can be with Ida while stringing Megan Duncan along to be your virtuous helper." How perfect. A dense, sickening feeling crawled all over my heart, yet I still rushed back to the bedroom immediately and changed the login password with just 1 hour left before the application deadline. 40 minutes later, Bruce Taylor called. I answered, and the voice on the other end sounded weary and helpless. "Megan, I regret it. Can you come and keep me company? I want to be with you. Can you come to the junior college to keep me company too?" "Not good," I said resolutely. My phone suddenly received countless verification codes, reminding me of password attempt errors. The other side was still playing the emotional card. "I love Ida, but I also can't rest easy about you, my childhood friend. As a man, I'm confident I can take good care of both of you." I stared intently at the computer screen, making sure my college application choices wouldn't change a single word. You could jump from the building, travel back to ancient times, and then not just 2 women, but a harem of 3,000 beauties would be no dream. Bruce Taylor remained silent. The sound of keyboard typing was chaotic and disorderly. "Megan, I know you still have feelings for me deep down. Don't be afraid. If you're unwilling, I'll help you. What's your login password? I'll change it for you." I forced back my disgust and retorted, "I won't tell you. My birthday, right, soon." He started talking to himself. "No, that's your mom's birthday. No, that's not it either. Your dad's birthday. Why isn't it working yet? Could it be our birthdays combined?" I pretended to be nervous. "No, you're not allowed to try. Ha ha ha. Megan, you're really mischievous." Bruce Taylor smiled with a smug expression. "Is the so-called 985 university really more important than being with me? You don't understand. If you love, you have to give. If you don't give, how can I love you?" But soon, he couldn't smile anymore. "Password error, Megan Duncan. How dare you mess with me? Tell me, what's the correct password? I gave you a chance to be with me, but you didn't cherish it. From now on, you'll never have another chance to get close to me. There are still 5 minutes left. and I simply don't speak. On the other end, the hysterics have turned into complete silence. Once the time passes, everything will be set in stone. Just when I thought the other party had given up, a noise came from the balcony connected to the bedroom. Oh no, my house and Bruce Taylor's house are next door, and the two balconies are very close, and my bedroom happens to be connected to the balcony. It's too late, I quickly shouted. Mom, Dad, there's a thief, help. At the same time, Bruce Taylor also climbed over the balcony and broke into my bedroom. He was one step ahead and locked my door from the inside. By this point, the barrage of comments had already halved. This plot is so absurd. How is the male lead heading down the path of a lawless character? Dropping the show. I'm dropping the show. I don't like the female supporting character, but why does the male lead force her to change her college application? Halfway through, the male lead's image collapses, and his mother is even more outrageous, supporting the female supporting character and flipping the table. Dad is desperately banging on the door outside. Megan, don't be afraid. Dad is coming to save you right away. Mom was so anxious she was almost in tears, frantically searching for the keys, but Bruce Taylor was already approaching me with a ferocious expression. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Is it embarrassing to accompany me to a community college? You don't want to. Well, I insist. With that, he shoved me aside and headed toward the computer. The barrage of comments was even more excited than I was. Pull the plug, you idiot. That's a laptop. Unplugged the network cable. Ignoring the pain in my body, I desperately crawled behind the desk. I yanked out the network cable the moment he grabbed the mouse. Furious, he grabbed me by the neck. Just as I was turning red from lack of oxygen, my father burst through the door. He directly tackled the person to the ground, throwing punches left and right. Beast, how dare you bully my daughter? Mom held me tightly in her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. I stared at the clock on the wall. The moment the second hand passed 0, the tense string immediately relaxed. I collapsed into my mother's arms. My future was finally secured, and the barrage disappeared from then on. That night, my parents called the police. After the police arrived, they arrested the person for the crime of illegally intruding into someone else's residence. The punishment was 15 days of detention and a fine of 1,000 yuan. At the police station, Lucy spoke without hesitation. What do you mean by illegal intrusion? It's clearly her being improper, seducing my son in the middle of the night. As she spoke, she even proudly boasted to my parents, your daughter's innocence is already ruined. From now on, she can only marry my son. Hurry up and withdraw the police report, or I will never agree to let your daughter marry into our family. My dad was so angry he almost started a fight at the police station. It was the policewoman who sternly warned. The balcony surveillance footage captured everything clearly. And with the victim unwilling to forgive, detention is a sure thing. In modern society, it is forbidden to threaten marriage by tarnishing a girl's reputation. If such an incident occurs, the victim can immediately report it to the police. Lucy was so frightened that she fell silent. Now she was completely panicked. Your Honor, my son cannot go to jail. He is a top scholar. He is an adult and must take responsibility for his actions. Seeing that the police remained unmoved, she immediately knelt down and begged my parents, Brother Duncan, for the sake of our many years as neighbors, please let him go. Dad gritted his teeth and said, don't even think about it, dream on. Why didn't your son show any neighborly consideration and let my daughter go? He even tried to tamper with Megan's college entrance exam application. Lucy, who knew nothing about the law, immediately took the blame to exonerate her son. I taught him. It was all me. If you want to arrest someone, arrest me, not my son. As she wished, the police arrested both mother and son on the spot. 15 days later, the mother and son were released from prison. My father had already spread the story of Bruce Taylor's deeds among the neighbors. On the day the Taylor family mother and son were released, the entire neighborhood was filled with curses. Words like scum, disgrace, and get out echoed endlessly. After discussing with my parents, they decided to sell the house and use their savings to set up a home for me in the capital. They both agreed that they couldn't live next to a potential criminal. Before the house was sold, my mom slept with me, and my dad moved his bed directly to the balcony to sleep. Fortunately, until the start of the school year, Bruce Taylor from next door never appeared in the neighborhood. Standing at the gate of Peking University, looking at my parents' smiling faces, the future has just begun. 4 years later, I started working at a major tech company, catching the golden age of internet development. I earned an annual salary of $1 million within 3 years, with my parents' savings added. We bought a home and settled down in the capital. As for Bruce Taylor, it was already 10 years later when I learned about his news. Initially, he attended a junior college as the top scorer in the college entrance examination, which was reported by local media. He was at the peak of his popularity. During the interview, he heavily criticized the exam-oriented education system, claiming to change the stereotype of focusing solely on grades, proving that there is no difference between vocational college students and 985 graduates, gaining the favor of some parents. However, upon entering the vocational college, all the classmates around him were just idling away their days. As someone who wanted to study, he stood out as particularly unusual. Plus, Ida occasionally took him to entertainment venues where a single round of mahjong could involve wins or losses of over 10,000 yuan. Gradually, he lost himself and began to take shortcuts. As a reincarnator, he believed he could foresee the future and set his sights on Bitcoin, but even the cheapest ones cost tens of thousands each. When he asked Lucy for a loan, she naturally refused and even worried he was being scammed, threatening to call the police. He wanted to buy stocks, but his starting capital was only a few $1,000s. He couldn't make any real money at all. Bruce Taylor's pride in his rebirth was shattered by the harsh reality. After graduation, he still tried to use his top scorer status to interview at major companies, but he didn't even make it past the initial screening. It was then that he realized, without the diploma as a stepping stone, no amount of talent was of any use. Under successive blows, he began to idle away his time. 10 years later, I had long since settled down and established myself in the capital. Returning to my hometown to pay respects to my ancestors, I happened to run into Lucy, not yet 50. She had a head full of white hair, followed by 8 mischievous little troublemakers from the neighbors. It was learned that after graduation, Bruce Taylor had never actually gone to work. He hid in a rented room playing games, and the rent was still paid by Ida. Gradually, the disagreements between the two grew larger and larger. Ida scolded Bruce Taylor for having no ambition and living off others. Bruce Taylor retorted that he had given up Peking University for her, and if it weren't for her, he would have already made a name for himself. After graduation, the two returned to Lucy's home to live off their parents. To avoid going to work, Ida gave birth to 4 sets of twins in a row. Lucy was so overwhelmed with taking care of the children every day that she felt like dying, constantly urging Bruce Taylor to go out and find a job. In the end, Bruce Taylor broke his leg while delivering food, and Shannon also abandoned the children and ran away, leaving Lucy alone to take care of her son with a broken leg and 8 grandchildren. Seeing me in a suit, my posture was limited. Lucy's eyes gleamed with jealousy, but she stubbornly refused to admit it. It's just a big family, and you're deliberately showing off in front of me, an old woman. A woman is only complete when she has children. Now, with 8 sons in my family, the lineage is secure. You're over 30 this year and still not married, right? I always say that girls who study too much end up unwanted. I smiled brightly. Aunt Taylor, it's not RM University, it's Peking University. I owe it all to Bruce Taylor applying to a junior college, which allowed me to rise to the occasion. I really have to thank your whole family. Leaving Lucy dumbfounded, I drove away from the neighborhood. The sky was blue and the land vast in the distance, with the future right at my feet. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I know you're upset about your project being ruined. My boyfriend, Harry, tightly gripped my wrist, stopping me from making a call for help. But if you make a big deal out of this now, Vivian's internship evaluation will be completely ruined. The selection for the exchange program at the Paris headquarters is tomorrow. You can't let the director think Vivian has character issues and ruin her future, can you? Upon hearing this, a chill instantly spread from the depths of my heart to every limb and bone. He seemed not to have realized yet that our portable hard drives were the same model. The one that got ruined by the coffee spill wasn't mine, it was his, the one containing all his painstaking efforts for the National Architectural Design Gold Medal. I know what this Golden Dome National Architectural Design competition means to my boyfriend, Harry. He is the most promising young designer in the company, but he still lacks seniority. As long as he can win the gold prize this time, the company has promised to exceptionally promote him to project director and grant him the qualification to lead a team independently. If he fails this time, according to the company's promotion rules, he will have to endure at least another 5 years. So when Harry, with red-rimmed eyes, asked me to help him fine-tune the rendering parameters one last time, I agreed without hesitation, seeing how he had pulled several all-nighters in a row for this project, and how he was on the brink of achieving his dream. I was willing to share the final pressure with him. However, when he handed me that silver external hard drive, I spotted another identical one on his cluttered desk. It was marked with a pink rabbit sticky note that read, "Vivian's internship portfolio." Meeting my slightly puzzled gaze, Harry's tone sounded a bit unnatural. "Vivian's computer configuration is too low, and it keeps crashing when running renders, so she's been borrowing my workstation. Don't overthink it. There's nothing confidential on the hard drive. She's the daughter of my mom's friend, just started her internship, so it's only right that I look out for her a bit." I didn't say anything, suppressing that indescribable, uncomfortable feeling in my heart, and connected his hard drive to the workstation. The first thing I did was replace the desktop wallpaper on his computer, the one of Vivian resting her chin on her hand with an innocent smile, with a photo of him and me taken during the last team building event. Then, I settled down to focus on the final parameter tuning and optimization for his massive model files. Rendering optimization is an extremely delicate task. Every minor adjustment to a parameter can affect the texture of the final image, requiring repeated testing and comparison. I was completely absorbed in it, spending the entire afternoon immersed in the work. I never could have imagined that the wallpaper I replaced would lead to an unexpected disaster. I had been sitting at my workstation for over 3 hours. My eyes were dry and my neck stiff. I got up to fetch a glass of water from the pantry and stretch a little. As I returned from the pantry, I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my eye. Vivian, sitting at the intern station not far away, was huddled with a few other intern colleagues, pointing in my direction with barely contained smirks on their faces. I frowned, a sense of foreboding rising in my heart. Soon enough, my premonition came true. My heart sank as I stared at the unrecognized USB device, prompt flashing on my workstation screen. The silver external hard drive lay quietly on the desk, its casing soaked with a large, dark brown coffee stain that was still dripping. I whipped my head around, my gaze sharp as a blade, and my voice trembled with anger as I shot a look at Vivian. "Did you touch my things? Do you have any idea what's on that hard drive?" Vivian was startled by my outburst, but then she let out a soft, mocking laugh. She laughed so hard she nearly fell over, spreading her hands to her friends. "See, I told you she'd blow her top. I guessed right. Hurry up, a bet's a bet. Pay up, pay up." After saying that, she even ran over affectionately, playfully nudging the arm of Harry, who had hurried over. "Harry, you still don't understand your girlfriend well enough. I told you she's super controlling. I just accidentally knocked over the coffee and stained her hard drive. She's definitely going to be furious. Hurry up and pay." Seeing this scene, I could hardly believe my eyes. Harry avoided her hand, quickly walked up to me, and anxiously explained, "Susan, don't be angry. Vivian just saw that you changed your wallpaper and felt a bit uncomfortable. She wanted to play a joke on you, but she accidentally spilled the coffee. Don't blame her. You know she's still like a child at heart, always a bit clumsy and careless. Besides, you shouldn't have changed that wallpaper to provoke her." I scanned the crowd of onlookers and asked coldly, "Don't any of you know what's on this hard drive? Don't you know what I've been busy with all day?" I forced myself to calm down and took out my phone. "I remember my college classmate Bob is an expert in data recovery. I'll call him right away and have him come take a look. I know what a design project means to a designer. It's not just months of hard work, but also the cornerstone of their career. I also know how much Harry has put into winning this gold medal." With the finish line in sight, I don't want all his efforts to go to waste, but Harry was taken aback by my words, then immediately stepped forward and snatched my phone from my hand. I panicked and tried to grab it back with all my strength. "What are you doing? I need to make a call urgently. We still have time to fix this now, or else we'll lose our eligibility to compete." Harry stiffly turned his face away, his eyes evasive. "Susan, you and that Bob, aren't you two unusually close?" Hearing this, I felt a wave of relief and smiled, about to say that for the sake of his project, Even if I had to beg for help or owe a huge favor, it would be worth it. I couldn't just stand by and watch Harry's future be ruined like this. But before I could speak, Harry's next words drained all the color from my face in an instant. I understand you're upset about your project being ruined, but if you call Bob over, he'll definitely spread the word about Vivian damaging your hard drive. The selection for the exchange program to the Paris headquarters is tomorrow. You can't let the director hear rumors and think poorly of Vivian's character, which would get her disqualified, right? Vivian's family isn't as well off as yours, and she worked hard to get this internship opportunity. If your project is gone, you can always start over. With your abilities, you'll have another chance next year. Before I could fully process his words, Harry's voice, tinged with a hint of guilt, sounded again. Susan, since the data might not be recoverable anyway, instead of wasting time, why not help Vivian optimize her internship portfolio as well? The submission deadline is approaching. I looked up in disbelief, my eyes fixed firmly on Harry before me. He seemed to realize how absurd his words were, a flicker of embarrassment crossing his handsome face, yet he never dared to meet my gaze. I suddenly realized something. They all thought that what Vivian had destroyed was my hard drive, my project. I could guess from Vivian's undisguised schadenfreude and the sympathetic yet subtly gleeful looks in my colleagues' eyes, because Harry and I had the same brand and model of portable hard drive. They saw me busy with this hard drive all afternoon, so they naturally assumed that what I was so focused on was my own project, and today, to concentrate on my work, I minimized all the software and files on Harry's workstation that were unrelated to his project, and cleaned up the desktop spotlessly. But then it occurred to me that even if Vivian's behavior was so despicable that I could ignore her and let her face the consequences, Harry was innocent. I couldn't just stand by and watch months of his hard work, or even his prospects for the next few years, be ruined by a joke. Without time to explain, I grabbed the hard drive, still warm from the coffee, turned around, and rushed out, heading straight for the nearest professional data recovery center. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Can't call Bob, but can I go out and find a professional institution? Seeing me stand up, Harry immediately grabbed his coat and followed. He pursed his lips and said, "Forget it. I know you're the type who won't give up until you hit a wall. It was my oversight for not keeping a close eye on Vivian. I'll go with you to take a look. Although I know that this kind of physical damage is most likely irreversible, I'm still willing to accompany you on this trip." I didn't speak, but I didn't refuse either. After all, it's rush hour now. I don't know how to drive, and Harry driving would indeed save precious time. Just as I anxiously rushed into the elevator, frantically pressing the close button, a slender arm blocked the elevator door that was about to shut. Vivian stood outside with an innocent expression. "Sister Susan, let me go too. After all, it's all my fault. I should take responsibility, and I'll pay for it no matter how much it costs." She spoke while blocking the elevator door, neither stepping in nor moving aside. It seemed like she was deliberately stalling for time. I frowned deeply and urged, "Then hurry up and come in. It's almost 6 o'clock now. If you keep dawdling, the data center will be closed." As soon as I finished speaking, Vivian's eyes instantly reddened. Standing at the elevator door, she stiffened her neck and looked at Harry beside me with a pitiful expression. "Harry, is Sister Susan really angry with me? Will she never forgive me? But I really didn't mean to. I just didn't like seeing that group photo. How was I supposed to know the coffee would spill so perfectly and ruin the hard drive? You also think I shouldn't have touched that wallpaper, right?" Just when I thought Harry would at least scold Vivian a little and tell her to stop making trouble, his gentle yet helpless voice reached my ears. "No one blames you, but it's also true that you caused trouble. So I'm punishing you by not allowing you to drink milk tea for a month." After saying that, he turned to me with an amused expression and explained, "This girl has been like this since she was little. She cries whenever she causes trouble. I'm punishing her by not letting her drink her favorite milk tea for a month. That's a heavy enough punishment, and I'm sure she'll remember it. Could you tell her that you don't blame her? Please don't let her keep feeling so guilty." I could hardly believe my ears. If it had really been my project that was destroyed today, months of my hard work would have gone to waste, and Vivian, the one who caused all this trouble, only got punished with no bubble tea for a month. My heart grew colder and colder. Inch by inch, I forced a smile that looked even uglier than crying, but I couldn't just stand by and watch Harry miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, even though his words just now had chilled me to the core. But after all, 3 years of feelings, I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. I turned my head and said to Vivian, at the elevator door, word by word, "I don't blame you." Upon hearing this, Vivian immediately stopped crying and smiled, her face glowing with the radiance of a victor. Right now, I just feel incredibly conflicted. To be fair, I do love Harry. I admire his drive, his relentless dedication to his dreams. I once thought that Harry and I were the same kind of people, soulmates who could fight side by side, so I never doubted our relationship. But in that moment just now, I wavered. "Susan, I actually know that you deliberately changed that wallpaper to show me today, right? You knew from the start that I would be unhappy when I saw it and would definitely try to change it back, so you purposely found an excuse to leave your seat just to set me up. You've always looked down on me, thinking I only got in because of Harry. We're both women. How could I not sense your hostility toward me? Moreover, you know you have a classmate who can fix data, so you weren't afraid at all that I might damage your hard drive. Your goal, from the very beginning, was to ruin me, to leave a bad impression of me in front of the director, so that the spot for Paris would undoubtedly go to you. I have to say, Susan, this move of cutting off the enemy's supply lines, you played it really well." In the car, Vivian, who had been sitting silently in the back seat, suddenly spoke in a tone that was both innocent and malicious. I was just about to open my mouth to refute this absurd accusation. However, Harry, who was in the driver's seat, spoke first. His voice carried a hint of weariness and disappointment. "Susan, you know, even if we rush over now, the hard drive probably can't be recovered anymore. I feel something is off and signal for him to continue. If you miss the exchange opportunity to the Paris headquarters this time because of project issues, then the internship opportunity for the future city project that your dad pulled strings to secure for you, won't you be unable to take it either? Look, could you give it to Vivian?" I feel a sudden buzz in my head, as if a string has been violently snapped, and a surge of overwhelming anger instantly threatens to consume my rationality. "Harry, do you have any idea how many people my dad had to ask and how much effort he put in to get that internship spot for me, and you just casually ask me to hand it over to someone else? Besides, why are we even going to fix the hard drive now? Don't you have any idea how all of this happened? How dare you say something like that?" I glared at Harry, who was driving, feeling as if he had become a complete stranger, so repulsive that it made me physically sick. My heart felt as if it were being tightly squeezed by an invisible hand, the pain so intense I could hardly breathe. There was an unprecedented sense of humiliation. I didn't even need to turn around to imagine the smug expression on Vivian's face in the back seat at that moment. Earlier, when he stopped me from calling Bob, I could console myself by thinking that he couldn't bear to see the future of the sister he grew up with being ruined. He favored Vivian and downplayed the matter. Although I felt uncomfortable inside, it wasn't enough to make me completely turn against him. But what is he doing now? Taking advantage of the situation, or rubbing salt in the wound? If my project is truly ruined, at this critical moment, knowing full well how anxious I am, he still makes such a demand. Isn't that just completely disregarding me, treating me like a pawn that can be sacrificed at will? Just as I thought I had refused decisively enough, the car let out a screech and slowly came to a stop by the roadside. We were still several kilometers away from the data recovery center. Sitting in the driver's seat, Harry remained silent, his face dark as he stared straight ahead, his jawline tightly clenched. "Why did you stop? If you don't drive over soon, they're really going to close." My tone was impatient, carrying an unmistakable sense of resentment. Harry sneered, turned his head, and looked at me with a scrutinizing, icy gaze. "I only realized today how selfish you really are, Susan. You've dragged us all into this mess with you, but you can't even spare a spot you don't even need anymore. Don't you think you're being a bit too selfish? Besides, is there really no truth at all in what Vivian just said? Do you really think it's just a coincidence that you happen to have a classmate who's a data recovery expert?" I was trembling with anger, almost on the verge of laughing out loud. I looked at Harry and asked, word by word, "If it were your gold medal project that was destroyed today, and you lost your promotion opportunity, would you give that chance to someone else?" Upon hearing this, Harry nodded without hesitation, his tone resolute. "I would, because I'm not as selfish as you. if it were my project that had the accident today, I would accept my bad luck. Of course, I don't blame you for stubbornly insisting on repairing the data. I can understand how you feel, but that doesn't mean I agree with your actions. Actually, from the moment your first reaction was to call your classmate, I realized you're an extremely selfish person because you didn't consider Vivian's situation at all. But I still came with you, didn't I? I took a deep breath, desperately suppressing the anger and disgust churning in my chest. First of all, I'm not that clairvoyant. Changing a wallpaper doesn't mean I could predict that your dear sister would spill coffee and ruin the hard drive. Secondly, now, are we still going or not, or are we not going anymore? It's almost 7 o'clock. The final submission deadline for the Gold Award competition is tonight at 12 o'clock. There's not much time left. Harry's gaze swept over the traffic light ahead, but he made no move. He answered my question with silence. If I don't agree to give that internship opportunity to Vivian today, then I can forget about getting the hard drive repaired. Vivian in the back seat could no longer conceal the wild joy in her eyes. I suddenly felt that my stubborn insistence on rushing over to salvage this situation was utterly laughable. Harry was certain that I was currently frantic with anxiety, which is why he dared to force my hand this way halfway through the journey. I have to admit, he really does understand me. When I cared about him, I would indeed make compromises for him. Unfortunately, the current me no longer needs to. I stared fixedly at the endless stream of vehicles outside the car window, watching the traffic lights change from green to red, and then from red to green. In my heart, there was both overwhelming anger and a strange sense of relief. Fortunately, the hard drive that was destroyed today was not mine. Fortunately, I didn't speak the truth just now, otherwise, I would never have discovered that my boyfriend of 3 years is such a despicable and shameless person. It must be said that he disguised himself too well, so well that it wasn't until now that I truly saw his true face. Seeing me remain silent, Harry sighed and softened his tone. He turned to look at me, using a patient, instructive tone as if teaching a stubborn child, and advised me, "Why be so stubborn, Susan? Giving up the spot for Vivian isn't a big loss for you. With your family's resources, your dad can find you an even better opportunity next year. Vivian comes from an ordinary background. After what happened today, she's still willing to accompany you to fix the data, which shows she's a kind-hearted girl. Once she establishes herself in the Future City project, she'll definitely lend you a hand in the future. Try to think long-term, okay?" I looked into Harry's eyes and asked with utmost seriousness, "Can you tell me why? Is it just because you feel sorry for Vivian, or do you actually believe in her ridiculous conspiracy theory?" Upon hearing my question, a flicker of panic flashed in Harry's eyes, but it was quickly masked by a facade of looking out for you. Composure, Susan. I need support, you know. Even if I win the gold medal this time and join the company's core project team, it's bound to be tough at first. But if Vivian can get into the Future City project, even if she can't help me much, she can still provide some insider industry information. You also know that the project your dad found for you happens to align perfectly with our company's future key development direction. Looking at my increasingly icy gaze, Harry ultimately didn't continue. He turned his face away, no longer looking at me, his voice muffled as he said, "I don't want to fight alone. Susan, can you think about it from my perspective, please?" I laughed in extreme anger. "Let me think for you. But what about you? Have you ever thought about me? If the data really can't be recovered, and I give up my opportunity, what will I do? Go back to sending resumes all over the world like a headless fly? Don't you know how bad the job market is right now for this internship opportunity? How much effort my parents and I have put in? It's not like you don't know." Harry sneered coldly, suddenly turning his head, his face showing undisguised sarcasm. "So, you want to have your cake and eat it too, is that it? You want us to help you fix the data and recover your losses, but you don't want to pay any price, is that it? How can you be so disgusting? If you really think that way, then I don't think we need to be together anymore. I can't accept my girlfriend being such a selfish person, wanting to have it both ways." I was almost amused by his twisted logic. If it weren't for Vivian deliberately destroying the hard drive, none of this would have happened. I really want to ask him, what exactly have I both wanted and also wanted? Wasn't all of this originally achieved through my own hard work? Moreover, did I beg Vivian to come along? She's been stalling for time all along. What's her scheme? Is he really so blind that he can't see it, seeing that I still wasn't speaking? Harry let out a cold laugh. He then turned his head and gave Vivian in the back seat a look, signaling her to get out of the car first. I frowned and was just about to push the car door open to follow her out, but Harry grabbed me, causing me to stumble and my shoulder to slam hard against the car door. The sudden pain left me momentarily stunned. Before I could react, Harry had already gotten out of the car, and with a sharp click, he locked the doors from the outside. He stood outside the car window, looking down at me with a chillingly cold tone. If I don't teach you a lesson, it seems you'll never learn to consider the bigger picture. Take some time in the car to reflect on your actions. With that, he turned and walked away without looking back. Standing by the roadside, Vivian watched the scene, her eyes curving into two crescent moons. From an angle where Harry couldn't see, she silently mouthed a word toward me in the car. Serves you right. I could only feel that everything that had happened today was both pitiful and laughable. Recalling all these farces, I smiled self-mockingly, pulled up Harry's WeChat on my phone, typed out a breakup message, and hit send. Then, from a rarely used compartment in my bag, I fished out a spare key. When Harry gave me this car key, he smiled and said to me, he knew I couldn't drive, but he still wanted to give me one, because to him, this was a privilege that belonged only to me. I suppose even Harry himself has forgotten that I would always carry this privilege with me. Looking at the cold key in my hand, I feel nothing but utter irony. I have completely given up on this man. Opening the car door and stepping out, I didn't take the hard drive with me. Instead, I placed it side by side with the spare key on the passenger seat. I thought, if Harry still had a conscience and would come back after a while, then he would definitely see the hard drive on the passenger seat at first glance, and he would also notice the small S.I. had deliberately engraved at the bottom to distinguish it, the abbreviation of his name. He would surely realize that this hard drive was his, not mine. But if he really went to extremes and planned to lock me in the car all day, then he truly deserved it. Everything that happened afterward would be the retribution he had coming, but I still overestimated him, all the way until 10 o'clock at night. My phone remained silent, without receiving any messages. It seems Harry never even noticed I was no longer in the car. Meanwhile, Vivian's social media feed was being updated like crazy, from a candlelit dinner at a trendy restaurant to ticket stubs for the latest movie, from romantic fireworks by the river to intimate selfies of the two of them. It didn't take much imagination to guess just how happy Harry and Vivian were spending their evening. They looked as sweet as a couple deeply in love. I turned off my phone, gathered my thoughts, and gave my project files one final check. After confirming everything was correct, I clicked submit. This was the final submission for the Paris exchange program selection. Then, I calmly began preparing the materials for the next day's defense. As for the breakup message I sent to Harry, it sank like a stone, with no response whatsoever. He kept his word, truly making me reflect deeply. Another half hour passed, and suddenly there was a frantic knocking at the door. My eyelids twitched, and I had no intention of paying it any mind, but just then, the sound of someone entering a password came from outside the door. It was only then that I realized I had forgotten to change the apartment's password, and a wave of frustration washed over me. But on second thought, even if I didn't see him today, I would still run into Harry tomorrow when I returned to the company for the defense. With that in mind, I simply gave up resisting and let him in. Sure enough, the door swung open, and standing outside were none other than Harry and Vivian. Seeing me sitting safely in front of the computer, Harry's previously furrowed brow relaxed slightly, and his tone softened considerably. Are you helping me submit the project documents? He walked in on his own, poured himself a glass of water, his eyes carrying a softness I couldn't quite understand. Susan, thank you. I thought about it today, and I really did go a bit too far. I was too impatient, and I didn't consider everything properly for you. I'm sorry. Vivian and I have discussed it, and you should give the internship spot to her. But don't worry, Vivian isn't an ungrateful person. She'll take you along for the internship. What do you mean? I looked up at him, my voice calm and steady. Seeing that I had finally spoken up, Harry's expression relaxed noticeably. It means that whenever Vivian needs help with the project, she'll reach out to you first, and you can both grow together. If you encounter any difficulties, you can discuss and solve them together. This way, you can also gain a lot of valuable work experience. Right, Even if your project needs to be redone, it's not like you're busy every single day. When the time comes, Vivian can share some tasks like data organization and drawing proofreading with you. You'll not only improve your skills but also accumulate experience. This was actually Vivian's idea. She's such a kind-hearted child. I stared at the man and woman before me in disbelief. If I'm not mistaken, Vivian is worried that she lacks the ability to handle that internship position, wanting to take on the porcelain work without the diamond drill. She immediately came up with such a high-sounding excuse, using me as her free gun for hire and stepping stone. Am I supposed to be grateful to her for that? I feel like my worldview has been repeatedly shattered tonight, broken beyond repair. Looking at Harry's confident expression that said, "I've thought this through so thoroughly for you, you should be grateful," my face completely darkened. "Get out, otherwise, I'll call the police right now and report you for trespassing." Vivian sprang up from the sofa, glaring at me with wide, furious eyes. "Sister Susan, why are you so stubborn? I thought I had already done everything I could, giving you plenty of room to back down. Why do you still have to target me at every turn?" As she spoke, her eyes reddened, and tears began to well up once more. The relaxed expression on Harry's face also vanished. "Susan, are you sure you want to take things this far? You know, if I win the gold award this year, I'll become the youngest project director in the company, with a bright future ahead. Are you really willing to break up with me like this? I've said it before, I can't accept a selfish girlfriend. If you insist on being this way, then we should break up." Hearing the complete control and threat in Harry's tone, I curled the corner of my lips and let out a cold laugh. "Take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror to see if you're even worthy." Upon hearing this, Harry was so angry that he laughed outright. "Ha, Susan, you've got guts. If you have the ability, don't ever come back begging me." After saying that, he stormed forward, grabbed the laptop on the table in front of me, and was about to slam the door and leave. Just as his hand was about to touch my computer, I coldly called out to stop him. Seeing me speak up to stop him, Harry's face revealed a smug expression that said, "Just as I thought." Believing that I was ultimately afraid and about to compromise, I smiled, raised my hand, and with a sharp smack, knocked away the hand he had extended. "Did you misunderstand something? This is my computer." Harry frowned, his gaze falling on the open interface of my computer. Seeing the familiar modeling software and the already completed render, he felt reassured. "Isn't your computer still locked in my car? What other tricks are you trying to pull? Or are you deliberately saying this to stop me from taking this computer with the backup, just so that Vivian also misses the internship project submission deadline and you can drag someone down with you?" By the end, he became even more convinced of his own speculation, staring at me with a hostile glare. I didn't say a word, just calmly closed the laptop, then flipped it over completely, showing him the back of the computer. "Is it yours or not? You'll know just by looking. Our laptop models are the same. But to avoid mixing them up, you stuck a sticker of your favorite team on the back of yours. Mine doesn't have one." "Oh, right, I almost forgot to congratulate you, Director Sam. Your Gold Award project is about to go down the drain." Harry's face instantly turned as pale as paper. "What did you say?" His eyes were fixed on the back of the laptop in my hands. The smooth silver casing was completely empty, with no trace of the familiar sticker he knew. Without a moment's hesitation, he turned and rushed downstairs like a madman. Behind him, Vivian finally snapped out of her daze. Screaming, "Impossible!" With a pale face, she stumbled and followed Harry downstairs. If I'm not mistaken, when they rushed toward the elevator just now, their hands were trembling violently as they pressed the button. While they were gone, I quickly changed the door lock password. Then, I walked to the window and quietly watched the familiar car in the parking lot below. Harry frantically opened the car door, grabbed the external hard drive from the passenger seat, and examined it over and over. Finally, he had to despairingly believe that the hard drive was indeed his. I watched as he and Vivian repeatedly plugged the hard drive into the car's USB port and unplugged it, trying in vain to bring it back to life. But all of this was nothing more than a futile effort. Then, as if he had thought of something, Harry suddenly looked up, his gaze piercing through the layers of night and meeting mine by the window from afar. Then, he rushed into the hallway like a madman once again, but this time he didn't have the password and could only frantically pound on the door from outside, banging loudly. His trembling, tearful voice came from outside the door. "Susan, Don't you have a classmate who can fix data, Bob? Yes, Bob, I'm begging you, please open the door. Okay, you have to help me. You know this gold medal means so much more to me than just an award. If it were before today, I would have helped him without a second thought. Unfortunately, now I just feel an overwhelming sense of relief. Didn't you say that if I called Bob, it would spread bad news about Vivian? How could I do such a selfish thing? Harry outside the door choked for a moment, then braced himself and replied to me, "It's okay, we can't worry about that now. Vivian's internship portfolio is in there too. Compared to losing the gold medal, nothing else matters." "Oh, I see," I drawled. "But didn't you say that if the project is gone, it's gone? And it's no big deal. The project is gone, which means fate is telling you that you haven't reached that level yet. And you need to keep working hard for another year. I think Vivian's reputation and future are a bit more important. You can work hard together again next year." Harry's voice was filled with despair and urgency. "Susan, you are a magical being who has just received your acceptance letter to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. You are about to embark on a journey that will shape your destiny. The world of magic awaits you, and your choices will determine the path you take. Will you become a powerful wizard, a wise scholar, a cunning strategist, or something entirely unexpected? The possibilities are endless. Let's begin your adventure. Then all my efforts over these years would be in vain. Please, can you ask your classmate for me? I know I went too far today. Please help me. After this, I'll make Vivian kneel and apologize to you." "No, I won't contact Vivian ever again. Can you please help me just this once?" A mocking smile curled at the corner of my lips. "If you can't get in, then you can't get in. Didn't you say you're not a selfish person? If you were the one whose project was destroyed today, you would give the promotion opportunity to someone else. Now, the chance to showcase your great, selfless character has arrived, and I can't stop you." After saying that, I returned to the sofa in high spirits, turned on the projector, and started watching a movie with great relish. The two outside the door kept pleading, cursing, and apologizing at the doorstep. Gradually, they saw that I remained unmoved. Vivian finally couldn't hold back and started shouting angrily, "You bitch! You did this on purpose, didn't you? You deliberately didn't tell us. You just wanted to watch us fall apart. Are you feeling smug now?" "Susan, don't get too smug. I'll definitely tell the director everything tomorrow and let him know just how scheming you are. You just wait for your exchange spot to be cancelled." Hearing Vivian's threat, Harry didn't speak up to stop her. It seems he also genuinely believes Vivian's twisted version of events. Thinking of this, I'm even more grateful that I didn't show the slightest bit of softness just now, as the 12 o'clock deadline drew closer and I had no intention of helping at all. The two people outside the door eventually left in despair and resentment, slinking away in disgrace. However, Harry kept persistently calling and messaging me. I simply blocked him, and the world finally fell silent. To be honest, I never expected that a 3-year relationship, one I once thought would last a lifetime, would end in such a disgraceful way. I bet the two of them are running around like headless flies right now, desperately searching for ways to recover the data. But I don't feel the slightest bit of pity. I only think that evil begets evil, and justice will prevail. If Harry hadn't been so ruthless today, if he had just returned to the car a little earlier to take a look, he would have discovered the fatal truth, as I expected. The next day, the official website of the Gold Award competition announced the list of all successfully submitted works, and Harry's name was not on it. At the company's regular meeting, the project director criticized, without naming names, the behavior of an employee who missed a competition opportunity due to personal reasons, stating that this was a major mistake the company could absolutely not tolerate. Soon, rumors began circulating within the company that Harry would be transferred away from the core design department. A friend of my father's happened to be an executive at the Future City project. Upon hearing this rumor, he called my father to verify the information. I explained the whole story from beginning to end, which infuriated my parents so much that they pounded the table at home, cursing Harry as an ungrateful wretch. At the same time, I am immensely grateful that I finally saw his true colors in time. At the Paris Exchange nomination defense meeting, I performed excellently and successfully secured the only spot. The director never mentioned anything about Vivian. I don't know if Vivian ultimately didn't dare to complain, or if the director simply didn't take the ramblings of an intern seriously. After the defense ended, I successfully completed all the formalities and prepared to fly to Paris. Harry later tried to contact me a few more times, hinting that he wanted me to use my father's connections to plead with the company's higher-ups for another chance. I simply threw his own words back at him. People shouldn't be too selfish. Harry, cornered like a dog, actually tried to retaliate against me. He waited outside our company building for several days and finally managed to corner our department director. He and Vivian sang in harmony, adding fuel to the fire to smear me, saying I was scheming and would stop at nothing to snatch the spot. Unfortunately, the director they encountered happened to be a longtime friend of my dad. In fact, the news about this exchange opportunity was first shared with my dad by this very uncle, so he didn't believe a word of their nonsense, treating them like nothing more than two clowns putting on a show. It was only later, when he came to my house as a guest, that he mentioned it to my dad as a joke. After hearing this, my dad was even more furious. He found an opportunity to have a meal with several executives from Harry's company and casually recounted the entire story during the dinner. Those executives were already dissatisfied with Harry for missing out on the gold award, and now that they knew he was such a person of poor character who repaid kindness with ingratitude, their impression of him plummeted to rock bottom. Harry was not only transferred away from the core department but also assigned to the most peripheral and least promising position of data organization, effectively ending his career. After suffering this series of setbacks, Harry became completely demoralized and blamed all the faults on Vivian. According to company colleagues, the two had a huge argument in the office, making it known to everyone. Harry cursed Vivian as a jinx who had ruined everything for him. Vivian, in tears, lamented that she had offended me for his sake, only for him to turn his back on her. The once so intimate Harry and good little sister have now become bitter enemies. After Vivian's internship ended, the company did not offer her a permanent position, citing insufficient ability and lack of professional ethics. It is said that her parents even came to the company to make a scene, spreading the word everywhere that Harry had played with their daughter's feelings and abandoned her after taking advantage. The two families, who were once so close they could share a pair of pants, have now completely torn off all pretense and become sworn enemies. I saw Harry again a year later. When I returned from studying at the headquarters in Paris, the company sent a car to pick me up at the airport. While waiting at a red light at an intersection, I happened to see him handing out real estate flyers on the side of the road. I was sitting in the spacious and comfortable back seat with the newly appointed project director, discussing the upcoming new project. Meanwhile, he was wearing a cheap shirt soaked with sweat, standing under the scorching sun, humbly handing out flyers to every passerby. When he saw me, along with my well-tailored professional suit and my composed, confident demeanor, Harry forced a smile that looked even more painful than crying. He probably never imagined that a single wrong choice he made back then would cause such a drastic change in the course of his life. It was also at this moment that he truly understood what I meant by the harsh employment environment. He instinctively wanted to step forward and say something to me, but I simply shifted my gaze away and turned to continue chatting and laughing with the director beside me. As if he were nothing more than an insignificant backdrop, the light turned green, and the car drove away smoothly. Through the rearview mirror, I saw the flicker of unwillingness and anger in Harry's eyes, soon replaced by a thick layer of inferiority and regret. He did not become the influential figure in the company as he had wished, but instead sweated under the scorching sun, running around for meager commissions. Due to his professional blemish, no reputable design firm in the industry would hire him, and because he had once been too ambitious, always thinking too highly of himself, he now found himself unable to endure hardship, frequently job hopping without any professional accumulation. I remembered again that day in the car, when Harry told me not to regret it, that arrogant expression on his face. Indeed, I have never regretted it. As for whether he and Vivian will regret it, I have no way of knowing. It can only be said that all the gifts of fate have long been marked with a price in secret, and some people are destined to pay a lifelong price for their own foolishness and malice. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.